Ro.16, Trap, Armani, sOs, Zest, GSL Season 1, Code S. Africa TV Freak Up Studio Live. LG Ultra Gear and Hot 6 2021 GSL Season 1.
Welcome back to GSL Code S. It's time for our winners match. We're going to have sOs versus Trap. I'm very excited for this one. I think sOs could possibly cause an upset here and win. I know he has not performed as well as we've seen in the past, but, you know, if he can pull a little bit of that cheesy sOs play out and get away with it, I'm for that.
Honestly, it didn't feel like he should have beaten Zest in that series, but that's oftentimes how sOs rolls.
It was a weird series, for sure.
Yeah,
that we saw back there with those two, especially the last two games.
Yes, well, those were the sOs wins, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the first one was just some crisp execution on a one-base build, and just took him out.
I'll tell you, though, sOs is honestly my favorite player to cast. Casted a lot of StarCraft, but I always get excited to see what he's going to do because he is the person that shows us what, the craziest things you can get away with in an RTS.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see something a little bit different from the games that he's already shown, right? Because so far he did like a weird Max Packs variant build, and then he went into Oracles that game. And then the other two games were DT builds, right? But they were not what you would expect from DT builds even.
Well, they were builds that had DTs in them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I don't know if we called them DT builds.
Yeah. Especially the one where he made the Dark Shrine, then it was like 10 minutes, and then he made 2 DTs.
Yeah.
I guess he made an Archon out of them.
Yeah, it was a weird one for sure. I think we're going to be on camera for a little bit longer. I think they're doing the Hot 6 plug down there.
Okay. Hot 6.
I want to jump into this game, but we can't just yet. Thank you to our sponsors, of course, for the show. Yeah, I mean, do you think Trap's going to win this easily, or are you a
Trap's favored? I think.
Yeah,
but
I think it's
sOs, like, I mean, he can throw a wrench into any plans. But yeah, I think if I was Trap, like watching those games, I guess that I would just be thinking to myself, I should make sure I get an observer. You know, I should make sure that I have like some sort of anti-DT tech overall. But I think Trap will just play probably a pretty steady series, like, you know, maybe like a proxy robo game and then like a couple expand games, something like that.
Yeah, something like that for sure. I mean, there's so many PvPs that are going to be happening today.
Very likely.
Yeah, very likely. So you probably have to come in here with 9 or more different builds or different ideas you're completely ready to do. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that would be sOs too, right? Like, we're going to need his creativity if he goes up to 9.
I've been a little bit bummed that sOs hasn't been winning like he used to.
He had a terrible year last year.
He had a really bad year.
Yeah.
And I think halfway through last year, I finally realized he was actually just not going to win. I kept not believing that the times he would lose, it was a fluke. And sOs has never actually won a GSL.
I know, it is really weird.
Which is another weird thing. 2-time world champion, but has never...
2-time GSL finalist as well. And it's kind of painful, right? Like, he lost to Bjorn. That was Bjorn's meteoric rise that gave him the world championship.
Right.
And then he also lost to Innovation. So it's like, well, I mean, those are pretty good players to lose to. 2 of the 4 horsemen of Terran, and 2 of the greatest players ever. But yeah, it is kind of weird. And at this point, I've like kind of lost hope on him winning a GSL. That would be a miraculous run if he could do it now.
He seems to thrive better when the game is being patched a lot. You know, we're not having new expansions come out for StarCraft 2, but if there were like new units added or something, then maybe that's his moment that he can begin to innovate and bend the rules a little bit. But you know, the longer a game is out for, generally speaking, the conservative play tends to take over.
Yeah, but here, let's look at it this way too. Honestly, like this could be like a crazy upset season for him. If you look at the bracket that exists, the player I think he can't beat in it is Rogue. So if he gets like first place in this group, then he's on the other side of the bracket, and it's mostly like Terran players there, and you know he can manufacture wins there.
Something can happen to Rogue. I do think Rogue is the most likely player that's going to win this, but, you know, maybe Rogue screws up somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, if he does screw up, I think it'll be in the round of 8, and I think it'll be against like a Trap would be like the guy that could do it. I think.
Right.
So
this is an extremely important match here. We're going to see who's going to be advancing first.
Yeah, SOS could have a 6th season if he beats Trap here. But again, if he loses and gets out second in the group, then he has to play Rogue first, and I can't see it, Tasteless. I can't see that victory.
Just a best of 3. It's doable. We're going to go to GSL Nautilus here for game 1.
Oh, that's SOS's map. You made a mistake, Trap. You made a mistake.
Trap, how could you? We'll have Romanticide if we do go to map 3, Death Aura. Yeah, our game is now loading up. SOS versus Trap in this best of 3. The winner gets the second to last place remaining in the round of 8. Let's go.
2021 GSL Season 1. We stood at the edge of the world. Seize the stakes.
Dude, I want Sky Toss and a hidden base here from SOS. I will accept nothing less on a 4-player map.
Team NV, SOS. Africa Freaks, Trap.
Oh, I'm liking it already, Tasteless. Is Trap going like Nexus first? SOS is in the center of the map already. Oh my god.
What's he going to do?
So Trap is going Nexus first, which we never ever see. So that's already really cool.
Probably because it's a 4-player map.
Yeah, I would say so.
So let's talk about this a little bit because we don't normally ever have 4-player maps. We have them a lot in Brood War. We also have a lot of 3-player maps in Brood War. There are other variables that you've got to watch out for. I mean, the obvious one is going to be scouting. You can't scout immediately. It eliminates a lot of proxies. I mean, you can still hide stuff, but some of the more standard proxies engineered to hammer your opponent quite quickly, you just can't do it. Or you could do it, but it'd be a very bad probability it works if you put it in the wrong spot. Hidden bases are also a much bigger factor on 4-player maps because the map is not as easily cut in half. So these are all things we want to watch out for, but it's kind of crazy to see the different builds at play here, especially from Trap.
Yeah, and even from SOS, I'm like a little bit confused what this build was because he sat in the center with a probe for a really long time and then went top left, and now is going top right. So he's going to get here. He's going to see the Nexus as it's finishing. And his head moved enough that I think he's pretty caught off guard by this opener.
Yeah, well, that's scary. You scout that late and you realize, oh, I'm really behind if I don't attack him right away. But and I feel like this build is pretty well balanced so that you're ready for an attack as it comes.
Yeah, you don't go into this game with a Nexus first build unless you know how to stop the things your opponent will probably do when they scout it.
Right.
Because it's so non-meta, it's like people are not spending much brain energy thinking, oh, if someone Nexus first on this 4-player map and I scout them late, what do I do, right?
Yeah.
There's like probably almost zero thought put into that. So whereas on Trap's side, he's thinking, okay, what would I do? What would he do? How do I stop that? Okay, so the couple of depths, I mean, obviously SOS getting ready for that. Oh my god, really?
Ill-timed pylon cancel.
Oh.
Now, there are 2 stalkers here. They can kill off a depth pretty fast.
That was great micro from Trap. He could have lost a lot more here, but that's still obviously a lot. It's so funny, right? Like, even with the best laid plans, maybe he should just let that finish, honestly. That pylon. Yeah. A finished pylon that blocks your circulation is probably not as bad as those 6 probes right there.
SOS's Oracle is coming up now, headed towards this expansion. The fact that he got those probes is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And that's one of the only ways you could try to play catch-up there, and he actually did pull it off. Now we have a Twilight Council.
Twilight Council coming for SOS as well.
Yeah.
Comes in, and there's no battery here, so he gets a couple more probes.
Yeah, he's just barely going to not kill that Oracle. That's insane.
Trap out in the middle of the map with a probe. See if he has any plans with that.
Now, I think they're going to go for Blink, but it, of course, is possible to do DT tech here.
Yeah, that is possible. And, I mean, the Oracle got good scouting done. DT would not be bad choice for SOS, I think. He could probably get away with it. Yeah, there it is. And you know what? Like, really looking at this situation, it's 32 to 31 probes. So Trap is up by 1 probe, and SOS is going to have 2 distinct techs. Yeah, it feels like SOS has done very well for himself here. Now, that being said, there are some stalkers walking towards him right now.
Right.
How many units does he actually have?
Not sure. Those Adepts are going to shade in here and get a glimpse into what's happening in SOS's base. A pretty good
man.
Oh my God.
He sees the Dark Shrine tasteless.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
It's so far away from finishing too.
And honestly, you don't expect 2 Adepts right then. You really do not. You don't keep the probe at your ramp forever. So that was a pretty creative, cool move from Trap.
Yeah, normally we see the double Adepts very, very early on in the game, and then it's sort of eliminated as an option of what you could do there. But the fact that he then sent it in later, that's great. That works out. He got 4 probe kills.
It couldn't have been more valuable because now he's going to have detection. Like, that could have been an auto loss, and instead he gains a huge advantage from it.
Right.
Because now you're sitting here with DT tech. That's not going to really do anything for you as SOS, other than force observers. Now, SOS took a 3rd base very quickly when this happened, which is, I think, the best you can do in this situation, right? If your opponent you know has to get detection now, that's the least aggressive thing a Protoss player can do is get detection. So it kind of allows him to take this.
Both sides are going to have Blink. We do have Trap here with the opportunity to be on the offense. It looks like they're actually going to end up engaging each other right here in the middle of the map. Got to be careful.
That's actually funny because Trap had more Stalkers and Blink, and SOS was just barely not done Blink yet. He's going to finish it just now.
Yeah, now the Warp Prism comes into play. We see the Forge here for SOS. Did Trap not get a Forge?
Oh, I don't think he did.
I don't
think he did. Like, he's had to cut a couple corners when he took all that damage early on.
But he's going to have to eventually get a Forge, or he's going to need to try to end the game.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 options. Either start upgrading, or you need to play with some kind of an attack. And it looks like he, well, we don't see anything yet. We have Charge coming down here for SOS.
Yeah, and we actually just had a Prism from Trap. Is he actually going to try to attack, or is this going to be harassment?
I think he's going to try to just run in and end the game.
Interesting.
Because everything else, I mean, the 3rd base is nice, and he'll have probes there, but we need to see more development.
He actually spots that Stasis Ward, which is a very important moment as well. But yeah, I think he's going to be able to bludgeon down this base. But Charge is on the way. That's a lot of Stalkers, man.
Yeah. So this is a very sharp timing attack. He takes the battery out. Force fields come down, moving just away ever so slightly here.
He's get the sentries.
Just an insane angle over here. He's going to go for the Warp Prism, though.
Yeah,
big denial
there.
I can't believe he had the Warp Prism that close. That's one of the only ways that he might end up losing this fight. But there's so many Stalkers here, honestly, I think it doesn't matter.
I think you're right about that. A lot of probes coming out and fighting, and thus dying. Nothing left here for SOS, and Trap's going to take game number 1. Wow.
GG, yeah.
That was a bit back and forth.
It's funny because SOS looked to be played more proper. You know, you see the Forge coming, you see the upgrades coming, you say, oh, no, that's exactly what you want to do. But Trap says, what if I get bitten by a radioactive Stalker and become Stalker Man?
Well, he certainly was Stalker Man there. I feel like the 2 Adepts were the best thing Trap did that entire game.
Yeah.
Those 2 Adepts that came in a little bit later, again, you don't really expect that. SOS didn't have a probe waiting to try to block something like that. It was this kind of weird middling time where you don't have a lot of units. But based on what had happened, you kind of know that your opponent's on Stalkers. He has the Twilight, so you know he's going Blink, and you have Oracle, so you know he's trying to defend those with the Stalkers. So the 2 Adepts getting the probes plus scouting the DT tech, allowing him to get into this position. Just beautifully done by Trap, and a well-deserved victory there in game number 1.
And now we go to game number 2. Our map is Romanticide. Trap with a 1-0 lead.
2021 GSL Season 1. We stood at the edge of the world. Seize the stakes. Team NV, SOS. Paprika Freaks, Trap.
I have a mild disappointment we haven't seen a cannon rush yet.
Give it time.
Give it time.
SOS has got one
You
in
think
his
we'll
back
have one
pocket.
today? You think we'll have one?
I hope so.
Parting is more
I think-
likely for that, but SOS.
SOS could do it against Armani too, if we end up with that
Yeah,
matchup.
that's true. That's true.
Totally possible.
Yeah. Don't ever count that out. Second gate coming down on both sides.
I really can't stop thinking about that last game with the Trap played where he just kind of went YOLO with the Stalkers. He's like, what are you doing? Are you getting upgrades? What are you doing?
Yeah, he was just slightly up, and he had the 2 sentries. And
those upgrades in tech buildings could have been gateways and Stalkers, you fool.
yeah, it was really well done. Killer instinct.
Yeah.
Trap is very impressive today. Continuing onwards from, again, he's had such successful past like 6 months or so. So many tournament wins and deep finishes, and here he is, just showing it again. Round of 16.
Yeah, I do have my fingers crossed for a cannon rush. We have one pylon out on the middle of the map here for SOS. We don't have tech in it, so this could just be a launching pad for an attack.
Yeah,
Or
you
a
might
push
just do
of some
something
sort.
like stalker pressure. If your opponent makes like a sentry and tries to expand, they could be in trouble if you just kind of put some pressure on with that. Get a little bit of an edge. All right, Trap throws down the pylon to see which units are going to pop out. Yep, there's a third gate.
Very cool.
So
Okay.
yeah, just a 3-gate attack going to be coming up from SOS.
Yeah, this is actually quite strong.
Yeah, this is a
And
great build.
It looks very simple, and it is very simple, but it's very good.
It's one of the bedrocks of the matchup. Is the 1 proxy gate, 3-gate stalker attack. If they make the Nexus, it's like, especially if they make a sentry, you are feeling fantastic. Okay, shield battery going up the wall just to block that probe from getting in. He does not know as of yet about that proxy gate. Yep, down goes the Nexus. 2 sentries on the way. This is pretty good for SOS. Like,
Yeah.
I think he'll be able to knock out the Nexus.
Yeah, things are lining up perfectly. Like, if you know your opponent is going to get a Nexus, this is a really ideal moment
Yeah.
to come in. Warp Gate's just around the corner here.
4 Stalkers versus 4 Stalkers here. And that's a better first volley for SOS. Oh, good micro, though. Let's see how Trap does.
Ooh! SOS
Very good
barely
micro on
getting
both
that
sides.
away.
Oh, he goes in the bush. You got to be careful about that. He was kind of baiting to see if there was going to be a bush attack there. There wasn't. 3 more Stalkers coming down for the flank against the hurt Stalkers. Oh, this is a huge moment. Trap knows he's in trouble now.
Yeah. Takes out 1 Stalker. We have 1 other Stalker in the yellow, the other in the orange. The battery's about halfway done, but the attack here from SOS is going to start right now.
And he's got a lot of damage onto some of these. Now, a couple of force fields come off, and he does pick a Stalker with that. But the shield battery can be picked off very quickly. Oh, he actually loses one of his damage Stalkers there, but does get another one. It's starting to work out.
Yeah.
All right.
Honestly, Trap is trading pretty well here. I mean, there is going to be an extra gateway. There's going to be, for SOS, you can increment Stalkers out a little bit more quickly. But if these batteries finish, I think he holds.
Yeah. It feels like we missed like a warp in or something from SOS.
I agree.
Didn't it feel like we should have had 3 Stalkers come more quickly and then only 2 came?
Yeah, like when he was leaving.
He made 2 Adepts. Where are they? Oh, no, he just made those.
Is he going to try to shade these into the main, or does he want to try to take a fight? Trap has a probe at the ramp. Here we go. Pylon mutes that tactic.
Yeah, he can't do anything now.
I think that actually Trap is going to survive this.
Yeah.
And I think...
But, PvP can be a fickle beast here, right? Because, like, he just kind of forced Trap to do nothing but make units, throw down a couple batteries and everything. And now look at the worker count. It's even. It's like everything is... It's okay, right? He went 3-gate, yes. But there's not, like, a huge advantage for Trap here. He's got his own Nexus up. It wasn't really that far behind Trap anyway.
The Dark Shrine is coming.
Dude, he has gone Dark Shrine now 4 games out of 5.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, he really likes that building.
And we've got a Robo started here, but it's not for Trap. It's for SOS. What is coming as far as detection goes? This is another Oh, well, I guess actually he has an observer out. That's that's going to be that.
He comes out to hunt those 2 adepts that have been forcing over and over. Honestly, that 1 adept that died paid for itself just in canceled shield batteries and lost mining time. Darkshine should be finishing pretty soon here, but the Observer going to be out for Trap. Oh, the Darkshine's there?
Oh, that's also a weird spot to put it at, too.
That is a weird spot to put it at.
I guess he doesn't want it to be scouted, so he cancels that when it's at 99% completion, kills the pylon. Trap really doing a great control game so far, just kind of shutting SOS down at every step. He's going to outgrow him now, too, by getting another expansion up here.
Well,
and I mean, that's such a lost investment with the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, a lot of time investment there. Like, obviously, you got to cancel and got most of the money back, but that was like kind of a part of his strategy.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he has sentries, so you are worried about hallucinated, Phoenixes coming in and seeing that. Maybe he thought he was going to go super heavy on Blink and like just do like a big Stalker attack again, and maybe he could get away with just sneaking a DT in for a victory. So it's a bit coin flippy from SOS and definitely does not pay off.
So SOS takes his 3rd here. He's got Immortals out. His Robotech is being built in. Once again, we've got the Forge here for SOS, but Trap this time is actually going for upgrades here too. So we're not going to have any kind of weird Stalker build-up, snowball-y play.
You know what? I got to say I like where SOS is going with this right now. It looks like he's going to go into Disruptor, which I think is, if you get like a little bit behind, you can definitely make a game, like anyone's game, by going into Blink Disruptor. You can, once you hit the right amount of disruptors, then your opponent kind of, it's like, well, they should probably be going Disruptor as well. And then it just turns into those, those funny situations where it's like just a lot of Disruptor shots, Blink Stalkers, and then eventually some Blink DTs in there. And that's the type of game I think that SOS can excel at, and especially considering Trap kind of has outmaneuvered him a little bit.
Mass gates over here. Big production explosion.
Oh, the very first thing that SOS gets is Observer Speed.
That's funny.
That's cool. I like it. Observer Speed is really good. It's a great upgrade. Surprise,
and the second Forge here as well. So we're going to have +1 or +1 attack and armor here coming for SOS. We only have 1 Forge here for Trap.
That's
just something we want to point out here because this is becoming, a big build-up right now.
Are we sure that was the second Forge?
That was the second Forge.
Okay, because
wait, am I crazy?
Like, if you're going Disruptor, I feel like 2 Forge is like not on the top of your wish list.
Did I see it wrong? I thought there was a Forge making, and I saw the upgrade coming here too.
I think it was the first Forge. Like,
okay,
if you're getting
maybe
armor
I'm wrong.
upgrades forcing Disruptor Wars, that's like,
It is 2 Forge.
Is,
okay,
right.
all right, I'm not crazy.
Okay.
No, I agree with what you're pointing out, though, that like that does seem to be a little bit odd, right?
Yeah, if you're relying on Disruptors a lot, it's kind of like more about maneuverability and everything. I mean, it's not that expensive, so maybe not a big deal, but just a little bit surprising. All right, so he does have a good amount of Disruptors, but this army of Trap is like so strong right now. He needs a very high-quality Disruptor hit. All right, let's see if he hits it. Oh, he turns there, and that does not work out. Okay, the second one, not quite enough, I think, but he does have that overcharge. It is getting targeted down, but he's utilizing the surface area very, very well, pulling back in between buildings, not letting the Zealots get as many hits as they want. Now, that being said, still a much stronger army for Trap. Another Disruptor comes out. He's just unable to really hit.
Yeah. This is going to be it. Trap is just dumpstering SOS here. GG.
He mangled him. I don't even feel like SOS... Like, I like where SOS was going, but Trap's killer instinct was so high today in both matchups. He was just clearly the best player in the
Oh,
stream.
yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, he just had a very good handle on PvP.
And PvZ as well.
Right.
He just looked monstrous in every way.
He gets out extremely easily. Like, I knew that he was probably the most likely guy to advance, but kind of almost making SOS look like he didn't understand how to develop in PvP. It was a strange series for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, SOS, he gets to go to the final match. I think he still has a decent shot of getting out of this group, but he will get, whoever gets out second has to play Rogue, which I think is maybe the favorite of the tournament right now.
We're going to go to we're going to an interview now with Trap. Let's see how he's feeling.
Among the 3 Partners in Group D, Trap is the first one to move on to the round of 8. Congratulations. Thank you. Wow. It is your seventh consecutive round of 8. How do you feel? Well, today while preparing for the games, you know, my group mates are all very strong players, so I didn't have much expectations coming here. But you know, I'm glad everything worked out well. Alright, let's go to the winners match. You picked GSL Nautilus as the first map. And SOS went for the 2 adepts into your base. But it was quite interesting how you won that set. So can you talk us through about it? Well, it's a 4-player map. And then, you know, for scouting, you have to have some luck if you want to succeed. So, you know, luck definitely plays a very instrumental role in that map. And then that's why I went for the second Nexus without the gateway. Alright, let's talk about the Zerg matchup. You gained a 2-0 victory against Armani. And you went for the timing rush in both games. So why did you went for the timing rush? Well, looking at the PvZ these days, you know, everything's really the same. And I feel like the Zerg players are just playing too comfortably. So I wanted to kind of twist things up. So that's why I went for the timing rush at the beginning. Well, I think the Zerg players are going to be very alarmed with this match today. Well, you won 2 super tournaments, 2 consecutive super tournaments. And it feels like your mindset towards the matches are very good right now. In the round of 8, there are 4 Terrans right now. So how are you looking at these matchups right now in the round of 8? Well, these days, the Terran players are always very silent, but very skilled. And it feels like the Terran is the superior race right now. But I'm glad that my opponent will be innovation out of the Terran players. Well, Trev, you say the Terran players are really strong, but you're glad that innovation is your opponent. What does this mean? Well, it's really easy to play against innovation, so that's why. Easy to play against, okay. I think innovation will be very furious after hearing that. Alright, let's see how you perform in the round of 8. So before you go, anything you want to say? So I watched the Group C matches. I really did want to play against innovation after watching the matches. But I think this is the best scenario for me. So I'm going to try to make thorough preparation for the round of 8, and I'll try to deliver a good performance. Once again, congratulations, Trap. Thank you.
Cool, Trap moves on. That means we've got 1 more spot remaining for the round of 8.
That's right.
3 players left.
Are we going to get a second Zerg to go through? Oh, it's a tough one. It could be, though.
I don't think he's going to go through.
No? I think if he beats Zest, he will beat SOS. So I give
Zest is pretty good, though, man. I think
Zest is pretty good.
Zest is pretty good.
Don't
you remember how you were like very excited about Zest here earlier on?
Well, and then he said like he has no motivation. He's going to the military. So
a short break. We'll be right back.